Thank you for listening to the Tattness podcast on the Tattness Co. Network.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. A Mercedes kind of sentiment, luxury and trust in me to honor the free we all should be in. Sees my sundial burst into yin and yang, rain left me and you.
What is up, you guys? Happy Halloween season yet again. My guest today is Laurene Landon, who you may know from Maniac Cop 1 and 2. And I'm a little bit envious, man. Imagine being able to work with Bruce Campbell and do a cool movie like Maniac Cop 1 and 2. I mean, they're both dope movies. I love that old school 80s horror shit, you know what I mean? So let's hear what she has to say. I hope you dig it. Check it out.
All right. How are you? Jesus Christ. The off-air is almost better than the show. How the fuck are you? Fellow Canadian, no less.
Yeah, fellow Canadian, and no wonder I feel an affinity toward you because you're Canadian. As soon as you said hello, I felt like I've known you all my life. Now I know why. That's
so funny because everybody that I talk to,
Yeah.
there's always a good chunk of people that are like, for some reason, I feel like I've known you forever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like that's a compliment because that's really,
It is a compliment.
it's kind of crazy.
Why is it crazy?
It's just the number of people that I become friends with that say that within the first like day of talking to them. And even if they are Canadian, so it's not like a Canadian thing necessarily, because they're like, I don't know what it is about you, but I feel like I've known you forever. And I'm like, I've heard that so many times now that it's kind of like, wow, what is going on? You know?
Sometimes you're being interviewed and there's always a awkward pause, a pregnant pause, or it feels very weird. But I feel like I'm in the same room with you, like I've known you all my life. So that's a really good thing. But then that's because you're Canadian.
Or it might be because I never shut the hell up.
Maybe that's why too. I never shut up either.
Well, there you go. So this is gonna be a good fucking show then, isn't it? I was jazzed by the fact that you're in Maniac Cop. That was such a cool fucking movie.
It was. I had a blast making it. We shot in New York. We shot in Long Beach at the docks. I got to know all the characters very well, and I had a really terrific time making that movie. I got to work with Bruce Campbell, who had a huge crush on at the time, and he was insanely funny. And we just had a great repertoire. Sherry Nelson, not Sherry Nelson, who was it? I don't know. Everybody, Robert Zadar, who I love to death. We became very, very close friends, even though we lived in Ohio. And I just had a wonderful time making the movie because we filmed it in, as I said, New York, and it was in the winter. And I love the snow so much because here in Hollywood, it's so freaking fucking hot that birds are picking up worms with pot holders.
Fucking oven mitts.
That's how hot it is here in LA. It is unbearably hot. I don't know how hot it is there, but I saw a dog and a cat chasing each other, and they were both walking. Every day it seems to be getting hotter here. So I've had the air conditioner. The last show I just got finished doing another show. I had the air conditioner on and the fan on, and I may have to put the air conditioner on again because I think it's about a 98 degrees in here right now. But that's okay. How hot is it there?
It's muggy as fuck. I just told Jimmy, and I know people have heard this on my show a few times now, so they're probably fucking sick of it, but fuck them. A while back, about a month or so ago now, I had my friend Ken Sagos from Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4 on, And he's in California, and I was kind of curious because I was sweating my fucking yams off.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how hot must it be in California? And it turned out to be the exact same temperature that it was here. But we have Celsius, you guys have Fahrenheit. So it sounds more pleasant over here because it was 29 degrees here. But when you do the conversion, it's fucking an oven in the US terms. So I was like, it still sucks. It's the same.
It got up to 106, 108 degrees here. And it was pretty terrible. Got so bad I had to buy an air conditioner. Actually, somebody bought me an air conditioner. A friend of mine who I didn't ask for it, but a very dear friend of mine who knew there's no air conditioning in this house because it was built in 1904, completed in 1905. So the air conditioning does not work. So thank God a friend of mine bought an air conditioner for me. So it has been, I just want to move out of California. I can't stand the heat. If it cools down, I can't wait for the winter. My favorite time is the winter. And the winter in New York, or the winter anywhere but in Los Angeles. The winter in Canada, in Toronto, in Vancouver. I mean, it's just, it's been intolerable. So I know why there's a lot of shootings been going on, especially roommate to roommate, because the temperature here has been, I've never seen anything like it in my life. And I know it's not from climate change. That's a bunch of bullshit.
Canada has some brutal fucking winters, but out in Nova Scotia, it's weird that it's actually warmer in December than it is in Toronto.
Really?
Yeah, like I could go out in a t-shirt most days, and it's cold, but it's not brutal.
How cold?
Not very. I mean, like again, I can go out in a t-shirt and be like, it's a little bit nippy, but not bad. Where at the same time, Toronto is getting knee deep of snow to the point where it's like you can't even fucking move. It's so bad. The cars like are bitching because the snow is so deep. Like if they don't plow it properly, it's just a bitch to get around. And New York and Toronto have that in common, where it's a lot easier to take the subway than it is to drive. So, when you increase the snow levels, it's kind of like, what the fuck is happening? It inconveniences everybody, and it's like minus 20, by our standards. So imagine for the US conversion, it's fucking terrible. We're
how cold does it get in the winter? I'm sorry to interrupt you. How cold does it get in the winter?
Like I said, Toronto, like in Ontario, it can get really bad, like minus 20. Whereas here, not bad at all. It's really not bad. It's comfortable. Now here in winter, some days you might get the odd day where it's like you need a winter jacket.
Right.
But for the most part, it's almost like fall, where it's like, oh, that's a bit cool. A sweater will do. So it's funny because I'm on the East Coast where everyone thinks it's going to be so much colder and so much more snow, and it's actually the opposite.
Well, I can't wait for winter.
Right. Ron was on my show, Ron Russell, and the first thing he did, and I think it was off air, which is a shame because it was so good. He bitched about the heat. And he flat out said, it's hot when your balls are sweating.
That sounds like Ron. That sounds like something Ron would say.
That's Ron a bajillion%. I love him.
He's the real deal. Ron's the real deal.
He's so funny.
Yes, he is. And and you know what? He's always like that. He's not acting and he's not trying to put on a show.
No.
found him so many times at his house, many times in Palm Springs. And he's been to my house for dinner a couple of times, but he's always the fucking funniest human being I ever met in my life. He's out of his mind, and the great thing about Ron is he doesn't even know how funny he is.
That's the best part.
He doesn't know how funny he is. He doesn't laugh at what he says, but he's just one of those kind of people that says the words he feels and not the words of a man who kneels, and he doesn't care what you think, and that's why I love him so much.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the fact that they were just number one on the top 50 shows in the world, which I commend him for that, him and Jimmy. And I was number 10.
Wow.
So that blew my mind. I was like, well, that's cool.
You were number 10?
Yeah. So I was like, I'm coming for you, Ron. But no,
Congratulations.
thank you. He was so damn funny on my show.
He was what?
He was so damn funny on my show that like I watch their show and I see why they're number one. But he is fucking hilarious. The way I think it's the way he says certain things that
Well, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
He doesn't edit what he's thinking. He
No.
just comes out and says what most of us are thinking, but we would never say, right?
And even the way he tells stories.
Yeah.
I listened to him recently tell a story where he had kind of described a female friend of his as not too bright to begin with.
Was it me?
No, this is going way back. And he said that she kind of made an asset of him by having him go introduce himself to somebody. And under totally false pretenses. So he goes and says some shit that makes him look dumb because it was a total misunderstanding. This fucking traffic.
I thought you had gas.
I can't take credit for that.
Oh, you had gas. He knows he did.
No, there was some dickhead driving by the studio that has a small pecker, so he has to have a loud engine.
There you go.
So he had to make as much noise as possible.
Know those kind of guys well.
Every fucking time.
Uh-huh.
So Ron tells this fucking amazing story about going up and talking to this person and finding out that the introduction he was given as to why he should talk to this person was totally off. And it was literally about the name of what this person does. She told Ron, you got to go talk to this guy because he's part of the electric company.
Okay.
And he's like, it turns out he was part of an orchestra called like the Electric, some fucking such shit orchestra. Yeah. So I go up and say, you're dressed kind of fancy for a guy with the electric company. And the guy looked at him kind of weird and said, what? And I was like, oh, that's a joke, right? And cracked up. He's like, no, it's not. And then he's like, I'm not part of the electric company. I'm like, part of this orchestra. He's like, oh, Jesus. So he went back to this woman and said, you're really fucking stupid broad, And I laughed so hard.
That sounds like fun.
And his accent and everything just makes it that much funnier.
Yeah, he's got a great New York accent.
Right. And the way he says shit with such a straight face, it's so funny. And the fact that he actually means nothing by it. Nothing negative.
No.
He's just taking the piss out of you a little bit. He loves you, but he'll call you out. And I love that. I think that's great. So I love him for it. He's so damn funny. He doesn't realize how funny he is.
Oh, he doesn't.
Fuck, I asked him what to expect having Jimmy on. And I said, is he as funny as you? And the first thing he says, he's a prick. It's like, I mean, he named himself, he's egotistical. He named himself Jimmy Star, for fuck's sake. That's got to tell you how fucking egotistical he is.
Oh, I thought that was his real name.
No. But then
Oh,
he was like,
I know.
I'm just fucking with you. He's actually a sweet guy. You know, he's super natural, down to earth, really nice guy, you know, doesn't fucking have an ego or whatever.
No.
And I was like, I figured that with the interactions that I've had with him, he's been nothing but kind. We have a lot in common, you know. Today was the first day we really got to speak. So that was cool.
What do you mean?
Like him and I, we had like email interactions and things like that, but him being on my show was the first time we really got to have a conversation and find out how much we have in common, actually. So
That's common.
our love for horror, 80s horror especially, things like that.
What's your favorite horror movie?
I love Nightmare on Elm Street. I grew up with it. Halloween is another one I love.
Yeah.
I think those are my top two. I'm not a huge like gore guy.
Me either.
If it's like campy and fake as shit where it's kind of funny, I love it.
Yeah.
But like I'm not into that torture porn shit like
No, me either.
yeah,
Me
like
either.
Hostel, I will never watch that. That's fucked up to me.
Yeah.
I like over the top where you know it's ridiculous, but the idea of almost realistic watching someone suffer just doesn't do it for me.
No.
I
Me
don't
either.
know. I don't really know what people get off on with that. I don't get it.
I also believe that what is left to the mind, like Larry, my dear friend, best friend of 40 years, Larry Cohen used to always do, he would never show the creature like in It's Alive. He would never show the creature, just pieces of it, a little bit here, running there, a little bit of the eye, a little bit of the claw. But he always believed that the imagination was much more terrifying than seeing the actual creature. I know for myself, whenever I watch a movie like the first Alien, I was terrified because you didn't see the creature until really the very end. You see little bits and pieces of it here and there. Ridley Scott did a brilliant job of that, I thought. But Larry Cohen always, in some of his horror movies, because he did all kinds of movies. He did Phone Booth Cellular, It's Alive, hundreds of movies, bestseller. But in his horror films, he always left it up to the imagination because he always told me it's a much scarier thing, the imagination. It's like with the lights out. Well, what was that I heard? I can't see it, but it's the worst thing possible that's going to come and get me, right? Even if it's a cat outside in the cactus, you always think, oh, something's going to come and get me, right? And we have these visions of, oh, it's going to come through the window, or the door's going to open. It's dark. It's going to come and get me and kill me, right? That is what is scary. Not something thrown in your face that looks like a monster suit, which most of these horror movies do. Yeah, from my perspective, anyway.
I believe that completely. And the reason being that I think everyone needs to understand is that it's subjective.
It is subjective, yes.
So whatever terrifies you is what you're going to imagine it is.
Yeah.
And that is an individual basis. So
Yeah.
every single viewer is going to kind of view it in their mind as their most, terrifying fear. I think that is brilliant because it saves on a lot of effects. It saves on a lot of bullshit. And it leaves everything up to the viewer's imagination. So every viewer is going to view what's doing this as something different.
Yes.
That really triggers that emotion in them. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I do too.
And that's I think that is so important. I compare that to the music industry. There's a lot of bands out there that won't write down what they wrote for the song because or give away the meaning of the song because they don't want to take away what it means to you. It could have prevented you from committing suicide because you thought they were talking about something specific.
Oh,
but they were talking about something completely different. They're not going to take that away from you because it saved your life. If it
right.
means that to you, let it mean that to you. I'm not going to tell you what I was writing about. I want it to mean whatever it means to you because it's getting you through something.
That's
I,
very interesting.
I think that's brilliant. I think that's doing a huge service. Art
Yes.
should not be explained to death, I think.
Oh, it's interpretive.
Right. So I think that it should be left to the imagination.
I agree.
I think to explain exactly what you meant is ego driven.
Yes.
So, because you could be helping so many people, let them interpret it however it means something to them.
Who are
Don't,
your Who are your favorite bands? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
oh,
Who are
no,
your
no worries. Oh, Jesus. There's so many. I mean, I grew up in the 80s, like I'm an 80s kid. I was born in 83. So,
Wow.
yeah. So, I mean, I've had
Really?
aunts and uncles that were younger, still living at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, I grew up with a variety of things. And then things I've discovered on my own throughout the years. So, everything from like Guns N' Roses.
Oh yeah, they were great.
Love Guns N' Roses.
November Rain's one of my favorite songs.
Amazing,
Yeah,
right? Uh,
yeah,
and then like hell, I even love CCR. Um,
yeah.
there's something about CCR that just puts me at peace. Rod Stewart was another one that I thought his voice was so distinctive that I just was drawn to it. And
Yeah.
then, then like newer stuff. I mean, there's so many newer bands from like 1999 that I got into, 1994. You know, metal stuff like that, like Metallica. I loved things like that, but it's such a wide range of older and newer that I'm pretty on board with a lot of stuff. Art is art to me.
Yeah. I mean, I never liked heavy metal because I could not understand the lyrics. I appreciate lyrics. Um, about in 2006, I was consigned to do the LA Metro Transportation Safety Campaign, the train safety campaign, and I was commissioned to do 13 different spots, commercials, and I won the world gold medal. I was flown to New York, and I also won the Davy Awards, the Telly Awards Platinum. I won the Platinum. So many. I have 17 trophies downstairs, and I won because of my lyrics about train safety. And people could understand, comprehend the lyrics, and the lyrics were played in every single train for 2.5 years. Um, um, one of the lyrics I can tell you off, uh, it's been a long time, but one of the lyrics were kids playing down below in the subway and spray painting everywhere, right? And not watching for the train. And the lyrics that I wrote were into the tunnel with my spray paint can, add a little more graffiti. Yeah, we know it's banned. Looks like Tahiti. Lost my train of thought. 2 trains are coming. No, we won't get caught. Plenty of space, or so we thought. Miscalculation ain't no saving grace. Can't erase, replace my tracks. We're gonna get it. And there's a big whack. That's just one of them. That's just something I remember offhand, but I did 13 of them, and they were extrapolated into nine commercials that were played on television. And I won all these awards. I couldn't freaking believe it. When I got the first notice in the mail from New York that I had won the world gold medal, I threw it away because I thought it was a trick. And my friend went through the trash and said, "Why did you throw this away?" I said, "Oh, it's a trick. I didn't win anything." And she she said, "No, I think you won something. It says you won the world gold medal." And then I started getting all these other notices in the mail. for the Davy Awards, the Telly Awards, for 7 or 8 other different, very prestigious companies. And when I went to New York, I received the World Gold Medal, and we were up against BMW. We were up against the biggest tech companies you can imagine. And this dope from Toronto won World Gold Medal lyric for the World Gold Medal lyrics, and also for a whole bunch of other things. So what I'm trying to say is I respect and I like to understand lyrics in music. Like, for instance, U2. I'm sure you don't like them because
Oh, I do.
I love U2. They're my absolute favorite group of all time.
I love their old stuff, man.
Oh, their old stuff is phenomenal. Everything, almost anything they do, I love U2. And also the Bruce Springsteen's original stuff. I love Bruce Springsteen. So the new stuff, I listen to talk radio all the time. I'm obsessed with talk radio. So I haven't listened to music actually for 5 or 6 years. So I'm really out of the loop when it comes to music.
When did you move out of Canada?
Right?
When did you move out of Canada?
When I was about 4, and about 4.5. But I went back every year to Toronto, pardon me, or Vancouver to visit my Auntie Audrey and Uncle Joe, all my cousins in Toronto, Uncle Vic, Auntie Rosina. All my relatives lived in Vancouver or in Toronto. So I would go back every year and visit them. And at the time that I went back, I was able to afford to fly because I was making so much money from all the marbles, either Jury, Airplane 200, Yellow Hair, America 3000. I was making, it was just ridiculous the amount of money I was making. So I was able to go back, help out my family, help out my mom. Bought her 2 cars, got braces for everybody in my family except myself, which is fine. I don't care. But I went back, so it afforded me an opportunity. Also making movies in Europe, in Israel. I made America 3000. That movie was a crime against cinema. Don't waste your time. It's the worst movie in the history of cinema. As a matter of fact, when I did the documentary for Canon Films, I burned the VHS on camera. I burned it. If you see the documentary, I burned it on camera. I light the whole fucking thing on fire. The director screaming, don't do it. But I had an opportunity to go to Israel and to do Hundra in Spain, Almeria and Segovia. I had an opportunity to do Yellow Hair again in Spain and Almeria and Segovia, and go down the Costa del Sol. And I took my mom with me, right? And so I had a wonderful opportunity that I would never, ever have been able to do. And I was also at the Cannes Film Festival twice for Hundra and for Yellow Hair. And we were surrounded by about 2,000 press at the time for both movies, 1 year after another. So I would never have been able to afford the opportunity to travel as much as I did. And I was terrified to fly because early on when I flew with Peter Falk, we used to sit in the back of the airplane because planes don't back into mountains, right? We were both terrified, so we would always sit in the back of the airplane, very, very back of the airplane. And when we were flying first class, because I was terrified to fly, and it took a long, long, long time to get over that. I'm still not over it. So, I mean, I get dizzy wearing high heels, let alone being in an airplane, but that's another story.
I fucking adore you already. I tell you.
Why?
You're fucking hilarious. And I hate when I tell people, feel free to say whatever you want, and they still don't really open up, and they're like, I shouldn't say this. And you're like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say.
I don't care.
I love it.
I don't care. And I also wear proudly my flag.
See?
I wear my flag everywhere I go. I wear my flag. Tell you a funny story. I was at the post office 3 weeks ago, and I wore a flag mask, right? And I go inside the post office because I'm mailing something for Poshmark, because I'm on Poshmark now because there's nothing happening in the film industry right now at all. Everything has ceased, right? The end. So I went to the post office to mail something because I sell clothes on Poshmark. I have 22 racks of clothes in this giant old house. So I'm getting rid of all my crap, and I mean my good stuff and great stuff. Anyway, I go into the post office and I open the door for this lady, and she comes out and she saw me and she says, "Get the fuck out of my way, you communist, no, you Marxist. Get out of my way. Get out of my way, you racist." I said, "What? What?" She said, "You're a racist." I said, "What?" And I didn't understand what she was talking about. I thought I was impeding on invading her space, her private space, because I opened the door for her to come out of the post office. But it wasn't until I got home when I realized I was wearing my flag mask. That's why she said that. She called me a Nazi racist is what she called me. "Get out of my way. Get out of my space, you Nazi racist." That's what she said. And it was because I wear my flag. So I don't care what people think of me. You know, I'm going to point my life. I'm going to point my career. If you don't like me, bye-bye. I don't care. And I don't lie and I don't hide and say, "Oh, I don't vote for, I vote for Biden," or I tell the truth. I speak the truth. If you don't like me, fine. I respect everybody's politics. My sisters haven't talked to me in 3 months now because when I was in the hospital with stage 4 renal failure from hypertension, my sister in Culver City wouldn't even bother to come and see me when I came out of the hospital because she's a virulent liberal. And she said, and she wears gloves and she wears the goggles and she wears the space suit, apparently, from what I hear. That everywhere she goes, she wears the spacesuit, the goggles, changes her gloves 3 times a day. She wouldn't come and see me, and I was here quite ill when I got out of the hospital with stage 4 renal disease from hypertension. I don't have cancer. Like a lot of people on Facebook said, "How's your cancer? What's your prognosis?" I was very specific when I was in the hospital and said I have hypertension, stage 4 renal failure from hypertension because I didn't take my Norvasc, Avalide, Abipro, and now I'm taking Lokelma to cut down my potassium. So if nothing else, everybody out there who has hypertension, you must take your hypertension pills or you will destroy your kidneys. Hypertension is a silent killer. It will destroy your kidneys. So anyway, my sister wouldn't even come and see me. I said, "Can I come and see you, please?" I'll sit on the sidewalk across the street. "No, I might catch COVID. I might catch COVID. I'm not socializing." I said, "I just got out of the hospital with stage 4 renal failure. I could, it was really bad when I got out of the hospital. And when I was in the hospital, it was really, really bad. I didn't have COVID, but I was in a very, very bad way. And for a month when I came out, I've come through the other side because I'm on blueberry diet. Blueberries.
I'm so glad you recovered, first and
Yeah,
foremost.
can't have avocados, can't have artichokes, no potassium, I can't have oranges, and no tomato sauce, no tomato paste. My nephrologist says, I should have you as a clinician here at the hospital because he said, you know more about dietary intake as far as kidney disease goes than most of the people that work for me. So, but I came through to the other side, but I'm just letting you know how insanely crazy this COVID thing has impacted everybody's lives, and the suicide rate has gone up 8,000%. 8,000%.
It is.
And it is, it's because of the misinformation about COVID. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm so glad that you recovered first and foremost. I mean, I fucking love you already.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that bullshit. How
So-
long? How long do you think before somebody capitalizes and tries to make this COVID bullshit into a horror movie?
Oh, they're already doing it.
Oh, of course, they fucking
I
are.
get stuff sent to me once, twice a week about a COVID disease virus taking over the world. But, you know, it's just so, it's been done before. Viruses have taken over the world before. Dustin Hoffman did a movie about it. Look at The Walking Dead. That's about a virus taking over the world. So I get offered scripts 2 or 3 times a week, and I start to read them, and I say, you know what, this has been done, and they all are under the COVID guidelines, so to speak. But I don't really think, between you and I, any movies are going to be made for the next year and a half, because if anybody contracts COVID, they are going to sue the production company.
Yep.
And all the producers I know in Hollywood, and I know a few, have said, no way, no way. Some crazy actor like me, no, comes down with COVID. I wouldn't. Comes down with COVID, they're going to sue, and sue big time. So even if they wear a mask, even if you wear, the PPE shield, even if you've tested positive every day, somebody could catch it, sue the production company, and the production company, wow, goes out of business. So, you know, nothing's going to happen in my estimation. I did the Clown Motel 2 recently with Ron Russell, and we were careful. I didn't wear a mask because I was behind the counter, the bar, undercover. My character was undercover. I'm married to General Milan, who is Ron Russell. But I didn't wear a mask. But when I was around other people outside, I did put the covering on. But I tell you, it was 112 degrees at Universal, where we filmed on a back lot of a store, not a store, it was like a cafe bar, and it was 112 degrees. The air conditioning went out, and still a lot of people wore the mask, and they were profusely sweating, and nobody got sick.
Right. I heard the story about the AC having to be removed because it's too loud and all that bullshit. And I'm like, you guys are troopers, man, to go through that.
We were there 12 hours, and the air conditioning, they said the air conditioning broke down at about 3 o'clock. And we were there till, I think, 9 or 10.
Jeez.
And but we got through it. It was fun. We had a great time.
It sounds like it, in spite of the heat. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, in the valley too. It was in the valley too.
Right.
Imagine how hot the valley was. It was about 114 in the valley, and hotter inside the bar that we shot, because it just was. It was great until, I think, 2 o'clock, and then all of a sudden everybody was melting, and it's okay. We had a great time making that movie, and Joe Kelly did a fabulous job. Boy, he's an up and coming huge filmmaker. This guy's gonna hit the jackpot. And he's so talented. He's so kind, and he listens to actors. I came up with all these crazy ideas for my character. They said we were not making a porn movie, Laurene, when I did what I did in the movie. So I said, fuck it, I don't care.
He's actually going to be on my show soon, too.
Oh, he's so talented.
Yeah, he's
Incredibly handsome. Incredibly handsome. All the girls are after him. And, he's very reticent, very shy when you talk to him, but he's willing to listen to your ideas and what you have to bring to the table. And I do improv all the time. That's what I do. I memorize the dialogue, and I get it out of the way, and then I try and create a full body, three-dimensional character. That's what I do. That's what I do. That's what I was taught with the Stanislavski method by Ivana Chubik, by Roy London. And I don't just do horror films at all. I've done comedy, drama,
Yeah, you've
action.
done a lot of stuff.
I do everything.
You're multifaceted, and I love that.
Oh, well, I try to be. I can't ride a motorcycle though. I'm too scared.
I just checked.
I
Yeah.
I want to really bad. I did once, but the guy was on the freeway and he had been drinking and
no.
he was swerving, and I begged him to get off the freeway, and well, he got off the freeway, and I walked the rest of the way home. And I
Damn.
never got on a motor, but I'll tell you, it was the most terrifying moment in my life. Was
No
being
doubt.
on a motorcycle with a drunk guy.
Yeah, that's dangerous. I just checked. Joe's going to be on Friday. So,
Oh, good.
yeah. So that's going to be cool.
Please tell him hello for me.
Absolutely.
He's incredibly talented. He's wears so many hats. He's multi-talented. He's not just a writer, an actor, a director. This guy can do anything. I mean, he can. He's a DP. I don't know where he came from, but he's just gone to the top in no time at all. And he's very, very well respected in the industry. And I can't say that for many people, like myself. And
I fucking love you. Before we've wrapped this sumbitch up, because it's been a minute, did you want to tell your paranormal experience story? Because that was cool.
about moving in this house.
Yeah, that was really interesting. If you
Okay.
don't want to, that's fine. I mean, you already went through
No,
it.
it's real quick. It's real quick. When this house was built in 1904, it was completed in 1905. It was built by the Green and Green brothers, who also built the famous Gamble House in Pasadena. It's about 8 blocks long. This house is only a block and a half long. It's 4,000 square feet, my house, because there were additions made in 1917 in the back bottom and in the back top. So when I was going to the house with David Raposa, the broker, and Adam Gennaro and his assistant, they were realtors. One of the rooms in the back hall, and it's called the spirit room. I said when they were showing me through the house, I said, "Did somebody die in this room? Did somebody die? Somebody died in this room?" And they said, "No, nobody died in this room, but by law, we have to tell you that somebody died in the front room, which is the room I am in now." And they said, "This was the former owner's office, the front room." And I said, "Which is this room I'm in now, my office?" And he said, David Raposa said, no, they died. This gentleman, Martin Weil, he died in the front room. And I said, "No, he didn't. He died in this room." And they said, "Why? Why do you say that?" And I said, "Because when we walked in this room, the air was pushing down, very heavily down. And the air was very warm. It was hot. And at the time they showed me the house, it was so cold. It was winter. And it was freezing cold. I had 2 coats on. It was so cold. But 6 months later, his brother Jacques came from Hungary to meet me, the new owner of the house, because he just wanted to meet me. So I said, "Jacques, can you please come upstairs?" So he said, "Sure." So he came upstairs, and I said, I'm sorry to ask you this. Did your brother die in this room? And he said, "Yes." How did you know that? I said, Did he have a bed right here facing north and south, right here against the north, the south wall going north? And he said, "Yeah, he did," because there was no bed. There was nothing in the house. It was empty. And I said, "Did his head land right here? Right here on the ground?" I showed them a spot on the ground, a round kind of spot. It was just, and Jacques said, "Yes, my brother died right here, and he died of a massive stroke, and he did die in this room. And nobody knows that. Nobody could possibly know that." And I told him why. And he said, "Well, the house has been haunted since my brother died." since Martin Weil died, and some really weird things have happened in this house. There's a drawbridge that goes down to the basement, eh? And you really have to push a lever and pull on this London kind of drawbridge to make the drawbridge open up to go down to the basement. There have been so many times when I've been asleep here upstairs that I hear these bells. I have bells on all the doors, and one of the bells on the basement door starts ringing, crazy ringing, and the dogs go crazy. And so I run downstairs, yeah, and the door that is closed, of course, is wide open. I've also seen orbs going through the house. I've also had in Addison, the guy I live with, his office, we've had, I don't know what you call it, but he's had some canary stuff put in there, and you can see these things and these like spirits. We haven't touched anything. We have seen the weirdest stuff coming up the walls, and they're like ghost-like creatures. They're like spiders, some of them moving across frame in the middle of the night. And sometimes in the middle of the night, the dogs run in the room and run around in circles. And so I believe the house is haunted. Another time I was sitting outside, the second night I was here, I was sitting outside, and I was just sitting outside, and I looked up to the top room because I thought my cat was up there. I thought my cat was making a noise. And as I looked up and the lights were off, the light in the back room there, the add-on in 1917, the light came on and off, on and off, on and off by itself. And I thought, well, you know, there's something here. But it's not a bad spirit, it's a good spirit. I haven't had no problems whatsoever, but I got to tell you, there's been some really freaky stuff. And I've had people that have wanted to come and bring all their equipment. I don't know what you call it. These, I don't know, paranormal kind of people. They have wanted to come to the house and test to see what's going on in this house and in the basement and in different areas of the house. But to be honest with you, I'm too scared to have anybody come over, because if they do find something with their electronic equipment, then I'm never going to be able to sleep at night.
You know, what's really interesting about that is the way you described the air pushing down on you. And the reason I say that is because I just a week ago watched a video talking about the Amityville Horror House.
I never saw it.
Talking about the actual house, though, not the movie. And Ed and Laurene Warren, who were like legendary investigators of this kind of thing.
Right.
Ed went down to the basement of the house and said that he felt this heavy air pushed down on him to the point where he almost dropped to the floor. So
really?
he knew there's something very heavy in
really?
Yeah. And I never.
Where can I look this? Can I look this up somewhere?
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah,
what do I look up?
I got it as like a pop-up video that was suggested, but I believe it was like Ed and Laurene Warren in like Amityville House. We'll probably find it for
the house or the movie.
The actual house, like the real thing, not the movie. It has nothing to do with the movie. It's legitimately the house itself.
Where is it? Where's the house?
In New York somewhere.
In New York?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Yeah, so
it was pushing down too, like it was
yeah,
here.
like they are, Ed and Laurene Warren are so legendary as paranormal investigators. They're both passed now, unfortunately, just as of late.
Oh no.
But the Insidious movies, if you've seen them, are based on them and their investigations.
No.
Their characters in those movies, and or at least Laurene Warren is a character in those movies, but it's based off their real life They're like legendary paranormal investigators. If you can name a place that is allegedly haunted, they've investigated it,
Really?
including the Amityville house that the movie was based off of. So
Can you spell their names for me?
yeah, absolutely.
Lorraine.
Yeah, Ed and Laurene Warren.
Lorraine.
Let me double check. I will look that up right now.
Thank you.
No worries. Okay, so it is Ed and Lorraine.
Okay, got that right.
Yeah, Warren, Warren.
Okay, got that. I'm gonna look that up.
So yeah, the Conjuring movies and things like that.
I
They,
know they made a ton of money, and
yeah. So he described the Amityville house. He said he went to the basement and immediately knew something was heavy down there, something dark, something very unhappy and aggressive. And he said he felt like this air just poured on him like buckets and pushed him to the ground.
That's what I felt in that spirit room. We call it the spirit room, eh? It's a blue room, but it's a spirit room.
So I thought that was fascinating that you described it that way.
Yeah, and that's what happened, and they thought I was crazy when I told them, but his brother said nobody could have possibly known that Martin, my brother, died in this room and how he died, because nobody knew. Nobody knew.
Right.
Except the police, I guess. I mean, somebody showed up, right? I just knew when I walked in, I felt like I was being pushed down, but it wasn't an evil feeling. And it was like the air was I was being forced down, and it was freezing cold in all the other rooms. So I knew somebody was in that room, but then I've always been intuitive, because I'm a Pisces, and I've always been intuitive, and to the point where it scares people sometimes. But I think we all have that in us if we just trust our inner voice, and we all have that sixth sense in us. We all have it, but most people deny it for fear. I don't know why, but the house is definitely haunted. So, but I love it. I love living here. It's so weird. It's very creepy outside. You should look it up online. It's called the Lucy E. Wheeler House. It looks like a horror movie house.
I'm going to look into that, definitely, because I love stuff like that. I'm fascinated by I'm definitely fascinated by things like that. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it was an honor. I'm so glad to have you. Like I said, immediately, I just loved you to death. I was like, man, this is someone that finally gets it. It's an uncensored show. Take advantage. Say what the hell you want. I don't get when people don't use the opportunity to say what they want.
Because people are afraid they're going to lose their base. People are afraid that they're going to be vilified or castigated. People are afraid that whatever you're going to say, somebody won't like you. You know what? If somebody won't like you, then that's their problem, not yours.
This is exactly how I created my base. It's not giving a fuck.
You know what? You're a man whose actions are consistent with your moral values. And that, to me, is such a beautiful thing about your character and your spirit.
Oh, thank you.
Say what you feel, and you're real. And well, you're Canadian, you can't help it.
I appreciate that. My whole thing was always, with me, you never need to wonder what side of the fence I'm on, because I'll never be in the middle.
Me either.
You'll never have to wonder whose side I'm on. You'll know. exactly that what I mean is what I say, and what I say is what I mean. And there's no guesswork. You don't ever have to worry about me stabbing you in the back, because I'll let you know to your face when I change my stance. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So to me, that's important. So I love having someone on that gets it, that just says whatever the fuck they want. And, to me, uncensored doesn't just mean profanity. It,
No.
it means say what's on your mind, and
Yeah, be honest, be truthful.
right. And don't worry about repercussions.
Don't wear a mask, except in California. No, except everywhere. Wear a mask, be safe, be safe. And
Right.
Right.
There's a fine line between being safe and being fake. There's two
Yeah.
different types of masks, right?
That's what I'm referring. That's what I was referring.
Right. And in case anyone didn't get that, because there's people just dying to make everything political.
Oh yeah.
So I want to kind of take away their excuses and make sure that they don't get that opportunity, because they love that shit.
I just feel that when we as human beings repress or suppress aspects of our personality that are inconsistent with the standards of society, we disown ourselves.
Absolutely.
I don't disown myself.
Hell
and,
no.
and neither do you.
Shit no.
But then you're Canadian.
Right. I notice some people, I am the equivalent of chewing on tinfoil, unpleasant and, not for everyone.
I
But
don't think it's unpleasant at all. I don't think you're unpleasant at all.
well, that's because I like you. We view things the same way. For those that are like super uptight, I am probably not their thing.
No.
And I'm cool with that. I'm not trying to be their thing. I understand I'm not for everyone, nor am I trying to be, because I'm aware you can't please everyone, and it's foolish to try.
It is.
Then you sell yourself out. And I get a lot of that in you. You understand that, and I love that. So, so much respect.
Thank you.
I wish I got to talk to you a lot sooner than I did. But I hope it's not the last time.
I hope I can come back on your show. Get it?
Anytime.
Okay.
Open door policy. You let me know when, I'll make it happen.
Okay.
That's the beauty of my show, is I run everything. I'm kind of a control freak. I don't have some like conglomerate that wants to take control of my show. I will not have that. I'm a control freak. I have to fucking be able to say, I'm doing this, and fuck anyone who doesn't like it. This is what I'm doing.
Good for
So
you.
I decide my guests. I decide what's said, what topics, I let everybody just run loose. I don't have to agree with every statement of my guests,
No.
but I'm not going to censor them.
No.
I want them to have free speech, say what they want. Maybe they'll make me see things a different way. I'm open to it, but I'm not going to fight them. I'm going to be like, say whatever you need to say. So I decide what guests I have. I decide when they come back, and I'm open to have everybody come back, because everybody's really cool. And you, of course, are no different. I like I said, I put that out there. Anybody that wants to come back, let me know, and I am open to it for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
you.
Have a good one. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Follow me on Instagram, please.
Will do. What's your Instagram?
Instagram is Laurene_Landon. And on Poshmark, because I have 22 racks of clothes, as you know, it's under people, it's Laurene_Landon. So I've sold a tremendous amount of things, and it's fun. I love doing it. It's fun. It gives you something to do, because there's really nothing else to do. not much except walk the dogs 2 miles a day. So, and it's not much else to do, unfortunately. Read scripts and so forth. But so I'm very grateful to be on your show. Thank you so much for having me on your show. And God bless you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. And right back at you. I mean, it's been an honor, honestly.
A pleasure. Honor is mine.
I had a blast.
Me too. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all. So that was Laurene Landon. Super awesome lady, man. Had a great time talking to her, and I look forward to the rest of the guests this month. There's so many coming, dude. You won't believe this shit. There's people coming from all corners of the world, from the horror industry, and I can't wait. I look forward to talking to every last one of them. I hope you're digging all this, man. These guests are awesome, and I really appreciate their time. I'm really grateful for their time, and I hope you are too. I will catch your asses later, and enjoy your Halloween season, man. All of October is Halloween season as far as I'm concerned. It ain't just one day. Enjoy it, and I'll catch your asses later, bro.